night for Tennessee in basketball. The Volunteers fall into Florida by a score of 75-49. Rob, there's no way to spin anything on this deal tonight. Tennessee thoroughly outplayed on both ends of the floor and in every facet of the game.
Just brutal. I mean, and it was a shorthanded Florida team too, Brent. I mean, missing Scotty Lewis. I mean, they've obviously been without Keontae Johnson and their best big man, Colin Castleton. I mean, this was a game where Tennessee, even with Jaden Springer out with the ankle, I mean, this is a game that you think Tennessee takes care of business given everything the Gators were missing. And even, at full strength, it's not a Florida team that's looked great, but Tennessee just absolutely no-showed. I can't think of a single time where you could really, since Rick's been here, where you could kind of question the effort of the team. But tonight, they just didn't show up, and they did not meet Florida's intensity out of the gate, and that was just glaringly apparent.
Yeah, it certainly was. And you look at this, I mean, I go back to an Alabama loss in the 17-18 season. Tennessee got beat 78-50 down there in a bad day. But and look, you can run through all the stats and we'll have all that. You've got all that in your coverage that, Florida dominated in the paint, offensive rebounds, all those things. I think from a bigger picture standpoint, red flag, serious red flag, bad day at the office. Where do you put what you saw out of this team in context with what you've seen out of them the last couple of weeks as other teams know how to prepare for them? What do you make of it from a bigger picture standpoint?
I mean, it's part of it. I think is just college basketball. I mean, do people think that Michigan's not any good anymore after they went to Minnesota this weekend and absolutely got their doors blown off? I mean, it happens. I mean, I think it kind of exposed what we've thought for a long time is that, rebounding is going to be an issue for this team some nights if they don't really get after it. But the defensive breakdowns were most surprising to me. I mean, Florida shot almost 50% for the game, 49%. And it wasn't like they were just red hot from 3-point range like Alabama was. I mean, they were blowing by guys. Let me look this up real quick. Florida finished with, I know they had 4 dunks in the first half, and they weren't transition dunks. They were the result. Florida finished with 6 dunks. And they weren't, and I'm not highlighting the fact that they were dunks. I'm highlighting the fact that they all seemingly came after somebody got blown by off the dribble, help defense had to come, and there's a guy waiting there right at the rim just for, a guaranteed opportunity. That caught me off guard more than anything. I mean, they didn't find shooters in transition. Just lost guys. And in the second half, I mean, they just, they're down 11 at the half. They've not played well, but you're still in that game. And as well as I do, Brent, that first 4 minutes of the second half is crucial if you're going to mount a comeback. And Tennessee comes out, and on the second possession of that half, Florida gets an offensive rebound putback. And what do you think that the main point of emphasis was at halftime? Offensive rebounds. Then 2 possessions later, Tennessee just absolutely loses a wide open shooter in transition. He knocks down a 3, and instead of cutting into that lead in the first 4 minutes before the media timeout, Florida's pushed it out to 14.
Talk about offense, and I agree with you 100% on the defense. I mean, that was the biggest surprise because this has been a consistently good defensive team. They've had their moments of breakdowns, but for the most part, they've been a really good defensive team. Offensively, Rob, it feels like it's hard for this team to score. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but to me it fit, and it's felt this way for a little bit. They just don't seem to get a ton of easy stuff in their half court right now. I don't know why, but why does this team feel like it's? I don't know. The point says they're struggling to score. They didn't shoot it well, but it doesn't seem like anything's easy for them in the offensive half court.
Well, I think part of it is if you're not hitting threes like they weren't tonight. I mean, they were 3 of 18. That's unbelievably bad. You're not spacing the floor like they need to. You're not creating opportunities for, Keon to put it on the floor, get into the paint, or Springer, even though he wasn't there tonight, or Bailey. And if I think you saw tonight with Bailey, who finished 1 of 12 from the field. I mean, if he's not hitting shots, he's not bringing a lot to the table. So, I think that's if Springer plays or not. It doesn't make a difference with the way everything else went. But that was really tough tonight when Bailey was struggling that bad for Barnes to not have the option to turn to Springer and go the rest of the way. But you're right about the offense. They had 2 stretches tonight of 5 minutes plus where they didn't make a shot, including the last 5 minutes of the game when it just kind of got out of hand. And I think, again, it's stating the obvious to say you got to make some shots, but you really do have to make some 3-point shots to give people reason to spread out, to not pack it in, um, and to not back off guys so that it cuts down on penetration.
Going to be interesting to see what happens moving forward with this team. I mean, look, this team's still a good basketball team, but they've certainly got some things to look at, and so I think some leadership stuff's got to rally a little bit more. And obviously, this is going to be an ugly film session. But Tennessee tonight in Gainesville, Florida, in an ugly loss as they lose to the Gators by a score of 75-49. That's going to do it for this edition of Fast Break with Rob Lewis. I'm Brent Hubbs, VolQuest.com.